Something unforgettable went down at First Energy Stadium on Sunday, though not quite how anyone predicted. Sure, Myles Garrett finally snagged that elusive single-season NFL sack record after 3 frustrating weeks of falling short. And yeah, the Cleveland Browns wrapped up a pretty rough season by pulling off a dramatic comeback win against the Cincinnati Bengals. But the real headline, the moment that's got everyone in the football world buzzing and rethinking everything about the Browns, happened after the game ended. What Myles Garrett said about Shedeur Sanders in his post-game interview wasn't just your typical teammate shout-out. This was a franchise icon passing the torch to his successor. This was validation, brotherhood, basically everything Browns fans have been desperately craving for decades. Let me set the scene for you, because you really need to grasp how massive this moment was. For 3 straight weeks, Myles Garrett had been hunting down history. Sitting at 22.5 sacks, he was just half a sack away from shattering the single-season record. Every single game, opposing teams schemed their entire game plan around neutralizing him. Double teams, triple teams, chip blocks, lightning-quick throws, you name it. The pressure kept building, the frustration mounting, and then came the season finale against Cincinnati. A game that would ultimately define legacies and expose what this Browns squad is really made of. For 3 quarters, it looked like the record would slip through Garrett's fingers yet again. The Bengals' offensive line threw everything at him to keep Joe Burrow safe. Constant double teams, rapid-fire releases, max protection packages. Garrett was getting stonewalled, and you could practically see the tension rising with each play. But champions? They find a way. With just 5 minutes left in regulation, the Bengals made a costly error. They gave Myles Garrett a one-on-one matchup. Big mistake. Garrett exploded off the edge, torched his defender with a blistering speed rush, and took down Joe Burrow for sack number 23. Record broken, the stadium absolutely erupted. His teammates swarmed him in what might be one of the most genuine displays of pure joy you'll ever witness in pro sports. Defensive guys, offensive players, coaches, everyone racing to congratulate the man who just accomplished something no one in NFL history had ever done. 23 sacks in a single season while playing for a team with the worst offense in the league. Think about that for a second. Fewer opportunities than any record-chasing pass rusher has ever had. When Garrett talked about the moment afterward, he kept it humble and real. Man, it was everything I expected. It was so tough. I knew they were going to make it difficult, but I don't think I saw more than 3 singles on a real drive the whole game. And I just knew that if I did, I have to make that moment count. 3 one-on-one matchups the entire game. And when the Bengals finally slipped up, Garrett capitalized. That's what legends do. But here's where things take an unexpected turn. Because while Myles Garrett's record-breaking sack is what the stat sheet will remember, what happened next is what'll define the Cleveland Browns' future. With his team still trailing and everything on the line, Shedeur Sanders had to orchestrate a game-winning drive. No safety net, no backup plan, just a rookie quarterback battling his own demons all week, thrust into the most pressure-packed scenario imaginable. And he absolutely delivered. Shedeur marched the Browns downfield with surgical precision, clutch throw after clutch throw, converting third downs, staying ice-cold under pressure, getting them into field goal range for Dustin Hopkins to nail the game winner as time expired. Browns win 2018. Myles gets his record in a victory, and Shedeur proves once again he's got the mental fortitude and clutch gene you need to be a franchise QB in this league. But what Myles Garrett said about that drive, about Shedeur Sanders, that's what has everyone talking. When asked about watching Shedeur and Dustin Hopkins march down the field to set up the game winner, Garrett's response was powerful. Once we got in field goal range, I knew he was going to seal it. This is the moment that he's been waiting for. I was excited. I love winning. Read that again. I knew he was going to seal it. Not hoped, not wished, knew. That's confidence. That's trust. That's a defensive superstar, a future Hall of Famer who just broke one of football's most prestigious records, saying his rookie quarterback delivered exactly when it mattered most. Then Garrett added something that perfectly captures the moment. So, it didn't matter whether it's beginning of the season, end of the season, last game of the season. I'm just proud of him and glad to have a win. proud of him. Myles Garrett, the face of this franchise for years, the guy who's carried this team through countless losing seasons, is saying he's proud of Shedeur Sanders. That's not just a teammate compliment. That's a franchise cornerstone officially passing the torch. That's the locker room leader validating that Shedeur is legit. That's everything Browns fans needed to hear. But to really understand why this moment hits so hard, you need to know what Shedeur was dealing with heading into this game. What he revealed in his post-game interview is absolutely stunning and gives you a window into the mental and spiritual battle this young guy's been fighting all season. When Shedeur was asked about his emotions during that final drive, his response was raw and vulnerable. I'll say it's a lot. I'll say all week, I would say I've been dealing with a lot spiritually, like different battles that I had to overcome. That's why my body language, everything was off. Spiritually, different battles, body language was off. Shedeur's telling us he wasn't just dealing with football pressure. He was dealing with spiritual warfare, mental attacks, emotional chaos, the kind of stuff that cuts way deeper than anything happening on the field. Think about what this kid's been through. He's a rookie QB playing behind one of the worst offensive lines in NFL history. He's been sabotaged by a coaching staff that seemingly wanted him to fail. He lost his favorite target when Cedric Tillman got injured. Constant criticism, constant doubt, constant questions about whether he's good enough. And on top of all that, spiritual battles messing with his mental state, his confidence, his entire demeanor. But here's where it gets beautiful, where you see what championship cultures are really built on. Shedeur explained what happened next. Then we got into halftime. We got in the locker room and close teammates, close friends, words of encouragement, a shoulder to lean on. His teammates pulled him aside at halftime and told him to snap out of it, get his head right, remember who he is and what he's capable of. That's brotherhood. That's what real teams do. They don't let their quarterback drown. They lift him up. They speak life into him when he's forgotten his own greatness. And the results, they speak for themselves. Right back after halftime, then we start getting our rhythm. We start being us. So I think today, overall mentally, we won different battles. I think we won mentally. We won mentally. That's the key phrase right there. This game wasn't just about physical execution. It was about mental toughness, overcoming adversity, believing in yourself when everything around you is chaos. Shedeur went on. I think going back to the final minute drives that we had a couple weeks ago and it wasn't successful, we was able to get that opportunity. I knew the whole time Dustin was going to be able to make it. He'd failed in similar situations earlier in the season, but instead of letting those failures break him, he learned from them. He grew, and when he got another chance, he delivered. That's what franchise quarterbacks do. When asked what he wanted to prove on that final drive, Shedeur's response was perfect. A bad half doesn't define character. Each week by week, it was building different things and accomplishing different things, and being able to prove to myself, but not just myself, but this team and everybody that in certain situations I learn from, I grow from. A bad half doesn't define character. Let that sink in. Shedeur struggled in the first half. His body language was off. He was fighting spiritual battles. And instead of making excuses, he reset at halftime, listened to his teammates, got his mind right, and came out a completely different quarterback. But I want to address something Shedeur revealed that's incredibly important. When pressed about those spiritual battles, he got even more real. The devil, of course, is going to attack you different ways, people around you, and everything. And honestly, this whole year has been a long year. It's been ups, downs, it's been different feelings. So you got to be able at some point in time to talk to people. Sometimes you got to lean on people also. He's acknowledging there are forces working against him, whether internal doubt, external criticism, coaching sabotage, or just crushing expectations. And he showed incredible wisdom. That's whenever they talk to me. Nah, bro, do you? This ain't you right now, that you need people to let you know who you are. That's profound. When you're in the trenches getting attacked from all sides, sometimes you lose sight of who you are. You need people in your corner who can remind you, speak truth into your life, pull you out of that dark place. That's what Shedeur's teammates did at halftime. Now here's maybe the most important part. When asked what he learned this season, Shedeur showed self-awareness most veterans don't have. I learned what I like. I learned what I don't like. I learned a lot mentally, and I learned a lot emotionally, physically, everything. I think mentally it was how to deal with when things are going your way and when things aren't going your way. How to deal with feelings. How to deal with feelings. That's what this rookie season has been about. Not just learning to read defenses or master the playbook, but handling the emotional roller coaster of being an NFL quarterback, carrying an entire franchise's hopes on your shoulders. He continued with something every young QB should hear. You got to create your own reality, and you got to have that nucleus of people around. And it's not just your family, it got to be outside. Create your own reality. That's what franchise quarterbacks do. They don't let circumstances control their mindset. And you can't do it alone. You need that core group of people who will lift you up. When asked about the locker room celebration, Shedeur's response captured what makes great teams great. I think that we got each other's back. I think without the defense, we wasn't going to be able to do anything. And I think without us, as an offense being able to drive down the field, they did everything they could do. That's how you build trust. That's how you build friendships. What we witnessed Sunday wasn't just Myles Garrett breaking records or the Browns ending a disappointing season with a win. We witnessed two franchise cornerstones, one established, one emerging, having career-defining moments in the same game and giving each other the ultimate respect afterward. Myles Garrett, the defensive legend who just made history, looked at his rookie QB and said, "I knew he was going to seal it. I'm proud of him." And Shedeur Sanders, the young quarterback who's been through hell this season, delivered when it mattered most and showed why he's the future. The Shedeur Sanders era in Cleveland is real now. Not a hope or dream. Reality. Because when everything was on the line, when his franchise legend needed him, Sanders came through. And Myles Garrett saw it, acknowledged it, and validated it for the world to see. This is what Browns fans have been waiting for. This is what a franchise quarterback looks like. This is the beginning of something special in Cleveland.